All right, everybody, welcome to Strong Principles. Thanks for joining us. I am Zach Bragg.
I'm Pete Miller.
I'm Larry Medina.
And I'm Wendy Shafransky. And today's topic is more in the realm of mindset. We're going to talk about how people negotiate with themselves for a perfect scenario, and that kind of lends them to not meeting their goals. So what I mean by this is, I'll talk about a conversation I had this morning in the gym where one of our members wants her mother to work out, and her mother's resistant because she's like, well, I don't want to be on a schedule, and I don't want this, and I don't want that. So, you have a goal, and the barriers are always going to exist. It's how you negotiate or do not negotiate with them that makes the difference. And I listened to, some of you probably know who Brené Brown is. She's a very famous psychologist, I believe. Anyway, she had someone on her podcast, and we have these big goals, but then we have these sub-goals that actually deter us from the big goal. So say we want to lose weight, that's a goal. But then we have a sub-goal of, but I want to drink wine every night, or I want to, have dessert every night. And so those goals don't align.
Don't be judgy, Wendy. All right.
I didn't look at you. So anyway, so we're constantly negotiating with ourselves. Another example, we have a member that has gone MIA, and she only wants to go to a specific class that has a specific trainer, and the stars have to be aligned for her to come in. Not the way to roll. So what do you guys think?
Well, I think it's human nature to want something, but not to want to give up anything to get it. Like we want it for free, but we don't want to have to do the work. So we do want that perfect scenario where everything aligns, and it's easier for me to get what I want because I don't have to sacrifice or do any work. And I think that's where we get in the negotiations is, what's the most important thing? Is it more important to have your wine or to be fit? And we tend to want everything for nothing.
It kind of reminds me of I read an article by Mark Manson. He wrote a book called The Subtle Art to Not Give a Fuck, right? And so he wrote an article about people who dream of being a rock star, but what they don't dream about is like lugging your drum set, lugging your gear, setting it up on stage, getting ready for the show, doing the show, and then traveling every weekend, every day
practicing.
to get practicing. So it's really like your desire to be a rock star doesn't really mean that you are like really wanting to be a rock star. You just are dreaming of being a rock star. Like it's, that's kind of like what comes to mind.
Yeah, and so there's like a lot of work involved. There's definitely discussing mindset, there's a way you have to organize your brain. And so like what Pete was mentioning is very true. Everybody just wants something. But then they have all these pieces that are involved, or all these obstacles and challenges that are involved that can sometimes get in the way, and they're not ready to move that around. And so if you organize your brain and decide, okay, well, this is what I can do, this is what I'm not going to give up, there's balance that's needed. So someone wants to have wine every night, or someone eats dessert every night, and it's like, well, I don't really want to give those things up. What I find oftentimes with my clients is like, all right, well, let's do this. Let's switch your mindset up. You're not going to get as far as you want to go, as fast as you want to go with those things involved, but you don't want to give them up. Let's create some non-negotiables then. So what can be a non-negotiable? It can be a set time in the gym that we're going to have. It can be set day, every day, if you're going to have wine or dessert, but every day, the rest of the day is going to look really good. Can you do that? Yes. Okay, great. So then we have these small pieces. So then what eventually starts to happen, though, because they've created these non-negotiables of training, these non-negotiables, I'm going to eat right through the day, but I'm going to have this, whatever it is, whatever these obstacles, challenges are that you don't want to give up. They get so far down the road doing that, and they're seeing results, but maybe not the results they want to see. And then they get to that point where they're like, all right, I can take it to the next level. Then they might be able to be at that point where they can get rid of the wine or the dessert at night, and then they can start to make that move, that next step. But if you're able to organize your brain, and so let's say you have those non-negotiables or those things that you don't want to get rid of, you're able to organize your brain and realize, okay, I'm not going to get there as fast. And this is a hard convincing point with clients. It's like we can keep this stuff in if you don't want to get rid of that. The results are just not going to be as fast, so keep that in mind. But create the non-negotiables of your health and wellness and strength training and whatever they're doing. And then you're going to see some results, and then eventually they'll get to the point where they may make that change.
And with that approach, what I'm hearing too is you're having them make the decision once. I'm someone that's going to eat dessert every night for now, but I am going to train these 3 days a week. They're not making that decision every single day when the alarm goes off. It's already been made, and that's a really good tactic to just kind of, stay the course.
Yeah, it reminds you of the discipline equals freedom. right? Where it's just like, if you know what you're doing the next day, hopefully it does at least alleviate like, oh, what am I doing today? It actually is pretty freeing. It's, I know it sounds very counterproductive, but it actually is pretty freeing.
Yeah, 100%. So I think like practically, what are some steps you could take if you're a person who's in this scenario? So let's say, and Wendy and I hear it all the time. It's like, I'm just not ready yet. Well, then what are you ready to do? Let's ask that question instead. What can you do? All right, well, can you walk every night? All right, well then start with that. Walk every day for the next week or walk every day for the next 2 weeks. Can you strength train once a week? Well, yeah, I can make time for once a week. Okay, well, we're gonna block it this one time. So the practical steps would be figure out what you can do, whatever you are ready to do, and start doing that. Doesn't have to be a lot. And it's kind of the all or nothing attitude is what really hurts people.
Right.
Because people are either want to be all in or they're all out. But if you can get rid of that and create, like in the last episode, you guys were talking about sustainability and create that sustainability of effect of what can I do at that moment, do that for a couple weeks. Eventually it starts to get a little bit better, but sticking with those non-negotiables of what you can do for that period of time.
Right. And that's just habit stacking, one at a
absolutely.
time. Because if you do a 180, it's not sustainable.
not gonna stay,
So
yeah.
pick one little thing, make it a habit, go on to the next, go on to the next.
Yep.
And so many people wait for motivation to hit them in the face. I mean, we're all in a gym all day long. We work out on a regular basis, but we don't always feel like it.
Exactly.
But it's a habit, and it's part of our identity, and we do it anyway.
So many years ago when I first started, you sent out an email, and it was about habit forming and how long it takes to form a habit. And I'd come in and I'd talk to you about it, and you said something that was an epiphany moment for me. You said, you can't build fitness on motivation because motivation is emotion and it's fleeting. You have to build fitness on habits because habits survive bad times. And I think that's what I took, where I'm the person who likes to eat ice cream, and I don't really drink, but I like chips and stuff. I'm my own worst enemy. But what I did to build a habit was, instead of going all or not, 2 days a week, I would allow myself to have that. And then over the course of time, that satisfied me. And then I could go down to one. And that one was satisfying enough that I didn't have to have it every day because it became a habit to me. And it wasn't just motivation, it just became a lifestyle. Because I'm a big fan of structure. I mean, if we have structure, when chaos ensues, we can fall back upon our structure.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, like, I'm somebody who, who definitely would have bad habits as far as like eating, because, to me, like, that's my big social thing is that I like to eat. I like to have a drink. I like to eat, bad stuff. And mainly it's because, like, I feel like breaking bread is a good way to bond with people, right? Like that's always been my identity, if you will. But to your point, right? Like recently I was like, all right, I got to do something. Like I got, I would work out, but I was very inconsistent. One week, maybe miss a week, very inconsistent. And, I definitely could tell I wasn't good. So like recently, I'd say like last 3 months, I'm consistently working out 3 to 4 times a week, minimum 3. Like that's my minimum. And if I can get in like like an extra day, I'll do it. I can definitely tell it's helped me out a lot because I'm way more, I feel fresher. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like I don't feel as stiff, and I definitely can tell that I just feel better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Wendy brings up a good point too, kind of along the lines. Those challenges are not going to go away, and those obstacles are not going to go away. And if one goes away, there's going to be a different one that pops up. I was listening to, I recently watched the X-Men with Hugh Jackman. He's jacked in it, And I was looking up like I always look up, what's their training program, what's their stuff? So then I fell down a rabbit hole, and there's this guy named Rob Mack, the actor Rob Mack. I think it's Always Sunny is the show that he was in. But he went from, in the beginning of the show, he was kind of skinny. Then he put on a bunch of weight. Then he got yoked again. And he did
Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yes. But he got really ripped for it as kind of like a comedic joke. But they were interviewing him, and they're like, how did you get in shape for this? He's like, oh, it's really easy. Go to your doctor 2 to 3 times a week. Make sure you have a personal trainer ready to take you into the gym twice a week. Have a personal chef ready. Your family, get rid of that. Alcohol, say goodbye to that. He started saying all these things like that he's in the perfect scenario to do it. And anybody else who's not in that perfect scenario can't do it. And I was like, I can't disagree more. But people fell into that rabbit hole of, oh, well, he's in a scenario where you can do it. Or they might look at a trainer or somebody who owns a gym and be like, oh, well, they're in a perfect scenario. They're in the gym all day. There's still obstacles. There's still challenges. I couldn't have disagreed with him more because you can set up these non-negotiables or these things like we're talking about that's going to allow you to be able to do it. You don't have to have a perfect scenario, and there never will be an absolutely perfect scenario.
You know, it's all about perspective, right? Like, because like, and you two are making great points in the sense of like, well, you live in a gym, so it's easy for you to do it, right? Mm-hmm. But really, it's so. I read Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, right?
I've read that.
Great book. Mm-hmm. And at first, like when I first read it, I was younger, and like I just it didn't process. What did process to me is I was making up excuses on why he was successful, right? And like looking back now that I'm older, it's like he kept on losing money, and he kept on losing until he was able to make it. The anxiety that I would have had losing along the way before you make the break, I would have given up, you know. But so, yeah, it just really like that's what my mind. I don't know if that's making any sense, but like,
Yeah, we don't live in a bubble. There's
we don't live in a
challenges.
bubble. Yes, there's gonna be
Yeah.
challenges.
Yep, and it's how you adapt to those challenges. I mean, time is probably the biggest reason or excuse that we hear. But if people would actually like maybe do a little time audit for their week, and they're staying up late watching Netflix, so they don't want to get up early, but they know like after work, things may happen and they might be at the office late or whatever. All right, you can do it. I mean, we've had, so many people that have kids and multiple jobs and school and all these things, and they make it happen. And so, we don't have a perfect scenario. We got to prioritize what we want out of life.
Yeah, and it becomes set. You brought up a good point, and I think you brought it up earlier, but in your blog post, you brought it up too, that, and you did bring it up earlier, but you're not waking up every morning and deciding whether or not you're going to do it. It's already preset. And so it just kind of goes back to that non-negotiable point. You have it set up, but the biggest killers of it, like we talked about, are motivation. And I think a big killer that I see a lot of it is comparison. So you start comparing yourself with other people and see their scenario, or you start comparing yourself with, your friend or your family, and then it can kill your motivation, or not motivation, but it can kill the habit. And then in which case you're trying to rely on motivation,
some of
and
us
it goes
compare
worse.
ourselves to our old selves.
Or your old self.
Yeah. Something may happen, and I'm not doing the same, or I don't look the same, and that kills my motivation too.
Right. Well, and as humans, we protect ourselves with kind of telling ourselves some untruths. Like we'll say, I can't go to the gym because I'm going to be a beginner and everybody's going to look at me. Well, great. Let's separate fact from fiction. I mean, like that's a feeling that you have, and feelings are not facts.
Feelings are not facts.
We tell each other a lot of lies to protect ourselves. So I think sometimes it's taking a step back and going, all right, what's really the truth here?
And it's also, I think your gym does a good job of, you're very welcoming. Like if you've been out and you've lost something, you come in, you're not being judged. It's very welcoming. Everybody's here to make you better. So that does help in that. But we do get into our own heads to where we beat ourselves up and we lose motivation. And that's why motivation can't be your leading factor for fitness.
Yeah.
Because you can't always be motivated.
Yeah. Well, what's saying? Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yep.
Right. So I'm with you on that. Like if you do compare yourself to somebody else, it's not good.
Yeah.
And before we wrap, I learned something this week, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but it's from like Native American culture, and they say don't, say you want something. Okay, Pete wants ice cream every night.
I love it.
Instead of saying I'm never going to eat ice cream again and putting those rules on yourself, you just postpone it. You go, you know what, not right now, later. And then that idea that it's always there, it's not special. Maybe a couple nights a week you're like, you know what, it'll be there tomorrow. So I kind of like that.
Give it a
I haven't
try.
tested it yet.
I'll test it for you.
This
We'll report back.
wine for me will be the test.
Okay, I love that one. Somebody else brought that up too to me, and alcohol is a big one for that one because social gatherings are huge. And so, let's say you're trying to eat a little bit cleaner. You're not doing alcohol at that moment, and a lot of people, it's such a pressure with alcohol too, especially in a social environment. But it was rather than saying, "No, I'm not drinking right now," just say, "Actually, I don't want it."
Yeah.
I don't want it right
not
now.
Tonight.
It's just not right now. Yeah,
exactly.
But I'm not saying I'm never going to have it again.
Yeah, you're not proclaiming I'm sober or like,
Exactly.
and that makes other people.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I love that, just kind of like delaying the gratification because it's not special. It's always going to be there. We just kind of put it on a pedestal,
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we kind of went all over the place with that one, but the point is, everybody has barriers in their lives. Stop negotiating with yourself. Stop waiting for motivation to show up. Make some decisions and stick to them.
Yeah. Excellent. Thanks, everybody. This has been Strong Principles.